Hey everybody, Nick Espinosa, your chief security fanatic here. Don't forget to subscribe. And today we got a fun one for you because Microsoft's getting sued over stopping the support of Windows 10. I'm a big fan of this, and here's what's going on. Lawrence Klein, who is a resident of Southern California in San Diego, sued Microsoft this past Thursday over their plan to discontinue support for Windows 10. Windows 11, for the record, launched almost 4 years ago or so, and there's about 1 billion or so Windows users across the globe, and a lot of them are actually sticking with Windows 10. They're not really moving. In fact, Windows 11 just finally overtook Windows 10 in July of this year, meaning it took it almost 4 years for people to basically ditch enough of Windows 10 to make Windows 11 the dominant player. So, according to StatCounter, nearly 43% of Windows users around the world are still on Windows 10. That's also bad news for them because, as I mentioned, Microsoft is discontinuing support on October 14th. And it's not that, for the record, Windows 10 is going to stop running on October 15th or something like that. It's just that the Windows 10 will no longer receive feature updates and, more importantly, security updates as vulnerabilities continue to be found, as they happen in every version of Windows and Mac and everything else. So, Klein, in his complaint filed in San Diego Superior Court, said that he owns 2 laptops, both of which run Windows 10. Both laptops, he said, will become obsolete in October when Microsoft ends support for that version of Windows. Klein also said that essentially the end of Windows 10 is part of Microsoft's strategy to force computers to purchase new devices and to, quote, monopolize the generative AI market, end quote. Yeah. He's on to something. Windows 11, for the record, comes with Microsoft's suite of generative AI, including Copilot, its chatbot. To optimally run Microsoft's AI, basically the computer needs a piece of hardware known as a neural processing unit, which newer tablets, laptops, desktops, etc. have. Older ones do not. So Klein writes in his complaint, and I quote, "With only 3 months until support ends for Windows 10, it is likely that many millions of users will not buy new devices or pay for extended support. These users, some of whom are businesses storing sensitive customer data, will be at heightened risk of a cyber attack or other data security incident, a reality of which Microsoft is well aware." In other words, Microsoft's long-term business strategy to secure market dominance will have the effect of jeopardizing data security, not only of Microsoft's customers, but also of persons who may not use Microsoft's products at all, end quote. And yeah, you could be 100% in Mac, but if you're giving your information to a business that is storing it in, let's say, Windows 10 or Windows 10 equivalent server version, you're screwed. Here we are. So, here's the thing. Although Windows 11 is a free upgrade, for the record, you don't have to buy it, an estimated 240 million personal computers do not have the right hardware to actually run the operating system. So even if for some reason you had a computer that was a couple years old, it's perfectly fine, is running great on Windows 10, and for some reason you wanted to upgrade to 11, when they do the system check, Windows 11 says, can't install. And so without those security updates, because you just bought the computer a couple years ago, you ain't getting rid of it, you're going to be increasingly vulnerable to things like malware and viruses. Those customers, for the record, will have the option to extend security, but you can extend to 2028. But here's the thing. It's $30 per individual per device and $61 per device for business, and it escalates to basically, by the 3rd year of the final year of support, $244 in the 3rd year. On top of it, we also have the e-waste problem as well, because according to one market analyst writing in 2023, Microsoft's shift away from Windows 10 and then requiring new hardware for Windows 11 is going to lead millions of customers to buy new devices and throw out their old ones to the tune of possibly 240 million computers eventually just getting stuck in landfills, thrown in the garbage heap. This is a problem. And quite frankly, I think that Mr. Klein is completely right. This is the model, and essentially they want to train, Copilot and their AIs on us as we are using and interacting basically with our Windows 11 and, their baked-in artificial intelligence, not to mention their competitors' artificial intelligence, et cetera, et cetera. And so by virtue of that, Microsoft is really trying to force obsolescence. That's really what it does seem to look like, in my opinion. And so by virtue of that, this is where we are. We're creating e-waste. We're spending more money. We are looking right now at an economy that is shaking. We just saw jobs numbers that were way down, et cetera, et cetera. People are not going to be wanting to spend a lot of money. So I think the solution that Microsoft could put out is you can neuter Windows 11 or have a neutered version of it for older software. In other words, older computers, and essentially say, yeah, this will run. It won't have any of our generative AI stuff on it. It doesn't need the neural processing, et cetera, et cetera. You can just run it and then maintain those patches and updates. But they are so gung-ho because the next moonshot here is artificial intelligence that they're not going to do that. And I think that's to the detriment of just the environment, our pocketbooks, and quite frankly, our security. And so I think personally that Windows 10 is the last operating system from Microsoft that was pretty good. I didn't have all of these integrations, et cetera, et cetera. I have a Windows 10 machine running. I have Windows 11, obviously, not to mention Linux and a whole bunch of other stuff because my day job is nerd. But the point is that I absolutely prefer the interface, the capability, and the non-nosiness of Windows 10 way more than I actually do 11. That said, if it was up to me, we'd all be on DOS and we wouldn't have this problem at all. But here we are, and we're on the internet, and neural processing and artificial intelligence is on its way. And so Microsoft is possibly going to pay damages for that, but I think they're going to keep on rolling. And that is your unfortunate news, fortunate or unfortunate, depending on how you look at it. For me, unfortunate news of the week. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please, please, please attempt to stay private, informed, and secure. Take care.